Welcome into your sports tonight. Bailey Burmaster here for your Monday edition. We got a good bit of news to talk about, not only with the Falcons after their win on Sunday, but we have some Braves news. Obviously, World Series wrapping up with the Dodgers taking it home. And now things for the offseason start to get underway. We start looking at this roster, and Alex Anthopoulos never wastes time. So let's take a peek at some of those. It turned out Marcell Ozuna was the only Braves player who could assume his contract option would be exercised. The team announcing that Ozuna's $16 million option was picked up on Monday. Along with all of that, something that was kind of unexpected, I guess you could say, is that they declined Travis d'Arnaud's $8 million option. He's a huge piece to this clubhouse and consistently has been one of those guys that steps up in moments when needed. So he'll hit free agency. I don't think that necessarily means that they won't re-sign him. Closing the door on that. They just probably weren't in the position to commit to that much money. Flexibility as far as, money goes seems to be the name of the game. He's veteran. He's probably going to be one of those attractive catchers. So we'll see how that plays out. Something to definitely worth watching. Also in all of this, pitcher Luke Jackson's $7 million option was also declined. But then we have to talk about the other news. The news that Max Fried receives his qualifying offer from the Braves. It's being reported that is 1-year deal worth $21 million. You have to believe he's fully going to reject that for a big reason, because he's probably going to get a lot more money somewhere else. He's talked about how much the Braves organization means to him, how much he would love to stay here, but at the end of the day, if you're going to get paid, you got to go get paid. So the veteran left-hander will now wait to see, how much more lucrative offers kind of await him in free agency. He has until the deadline at 4 p.m. on November 14th to accept or decline, but you got to believe he's definitely going to decline. You'd be surprised if not, but I'd also love to have him back. But because the Braves exceeded the competitive balance tax last year, they would receive a pick after the 4th round of the 2025 draft if Fried ends up signing with another team. Definitely one of the key acquisitions for the Braves, and they made that massive rebuild. And, he debuted in Atlanta in 2017 and had a career-high 17 wins in 2019. So he's definitely going to be someone who's going to be highly sought after in free agency. So we'll continue to be on Fried watch and see what else that the Braves end up doing with all this offseason in hopes to get back where they really wish they could get. So something definitely to continue worth monitoring, but, the Braves wasting no time to make decisions on their roster. So it will also be interesting to see if they'll be able to re-sign Travis d'Arnaud. They love him, but at the end of the day, you got to cut money where you can cut money, and so we will see what happens. Let's talk about the Atlanta Falcons, who beat the Cowboys 27-21. This is what I've been saying. It is definitely the Falcons' most complete game this season. Nonetheless, it is against the Dallas Cowboys, which, quite frankly, if you watch that game, they made everything look hard. Not a great organization going in the right way. Now they lose Dak Prescott. That's a huge momentum kill for them. We saw Cooper rush a little bit in that game. I'd be interested to see if they end up playing Trey Lance at all. You got him for a pick. Why not see what he can do for this team? But it's definitely a team that struggled. Let's hear some locker room. We talked to Caden Ellis, who had a massive game. This man had 13 total tackles, 8 solo, 1 sack, 2 tackles for a loss, and 3 QB hits. So we were able to talk to Caden. We talked to Grady Jarrett. We also talked to Ray McLeod. We'll hear about just the state of this team, the offense firing on all cylinders. And then when we come up on the other end, we'll give you an update on Grady Jarrett and Drake London and hear from Kirk Cousins following the victory.
You just want to go out there and make plays and help your team win. And getting to do that today was special, and it was fun, and getting rewarded with the game ball is just an icing on top.
Caden, do you feel like like there's been a shift in culture this season with just everything, with Raheem coming in, taking over, and at this point in the season where you guys sit and the ball you're playing, do you feel like there's been a shift from last season?
I don't really want to make comparisons, but at the end of the day, our culture that we've built this year is special. Our culture that we have this year is special. Our culture that, starting with Raheem and Terry and through the players that, they brought in this year and a lot of the guys we kept, it's special. And I'm loving it.
Caden, you do so much for this defense, and you're asked to do a lot within this defense. What's different about your role this year?
Obviously, it's a different defense, so the role is changed a little bit, but at the same time, I'm still going to go out there. I'm blessed to wear that dot, communicate, and be the center of communication on the team and or on the defense, and then go out there and, Jimmy Lake's pretty good at scheming some things up, so whatever he asked me to do that week, I'm excited about it, and it's fun, it's a blessing.
To have the pass rush be effective today, how great was that for you guys?
Oh, it was amazing. To stay the course, still haven't arrived yet. Never too high, never too low, and just keep stacking.
You can't talk about this game without talking about third downs, and y'all held them on a lot of them. I know every single play is its own entity, but
yes.
Was there a common theme as to why that was working today?
When you're on the same page, when you guys are all out there flying around executing, when you're all out there flying around executing and playing together, that's when you're hard to beat. Jimmy, he had a great scheme this week. We got dialed in on some things that they do and some X's and O's. Shout out to the coaches and their ability to get us prepared for that. At the end of the day, we spent a little more time this week just being together, being one unit, not just the linebackers, the DBs, the outside linebackers, the D-line. No, being a unit, being a group. And because when we're a unit, when we're a group, and we see things the same way, and when we go out there flying around and execute, we're tough.
At this point in 6-3, it's definitely not taken for granted. I know we got a long road ahead of us, but it feels really good to be in this spot.
You guys had a lot of talent coming to the season, but of course you have to still win the games. You feel good about where things are at right now as far as the talent and now that record?
Yeah, I think things are coming together, and I joke with Zach sometimes that sometimes, at points where you're like, hey, we're in it, we're competitive in the division the past couple of years, but you feel like you're playing your best football, and sometimes it feels like we're not even there yet. So I think it's, we still have room to improve, and to be where we are is awesome.
Caden said he feels like this chemistry and this culture with this team is special. Can you pinpoint what exactly you think makes it special?
I think there's buy-in, there's belief everywhere. I think we've had the opportunities to go win games when, we probably shouldn't have, or people didn't think we could have, but we had belief in one another. And when you go out there and you do that not once but multiple times, I think there's a thought you're never out of it. And then, Terry can't get enough thanks, at least for me as a player, for the quality of people that he brings into the organization. And there's really amazing people across the board. And when you have people like that, are giving their all and everything, it's really fun and really easy to support one another.
How rewarding is it for the offensive line, like the Ray touchdown, when Kirk is able to go through his progressions? And he's like the third or fourth option. The only way he's able to connect on that is because of the time he has in the pocket.
We know we got to strain, and Kirk does such a great job communicating with us. And we knew our assignment and just really tried to strain, and we know how good those guys are. So if we're able to give Kirk and those guys time, even whatever, they're going to get open and make an explosive play. And what a great catch by Ray there, and really capitalize on that.
What's it like working to see Bijan have a day like this? Just doing things, receiving the ball as well as rushing the ball, and just ideal for you guys. Yeah,
it's incredible, and I think what just makes him so challenging and what makes it great for us as an offense, and him being able to do those things protect us as offensive linemen, because then they can't screw their heels in and come after us as much because of the things that he's able to do. And it's so fun when you're transitioning to run down the field and you see Kyle or Bijan. Kyle caught that ball today and got hit and spun out of it and fought for the first down. You're like, that's nice. First and 10's a heck of a lot better than 3rd and 3. So when those guys give that effort like that, it's awesome.
And for one, thank God, ball finding me, Kirk finding me, and just being ready. I actually was a decoy. I was a decoy for a tight end going to me, and just O-line held up. Kirk had time, got me the ball, and executed as a team.
How would you say the offense is cruising right now, the way you've won 5 of the last 6 and the way you're being able to put points on the board with relative ease?
I think we're playing how we practice. We practice so hard, we're so detailed, and just everybody on point and just helping each other every day, competing and getting better. So I think it's all showing on Sundays.
Our best football is still yet to come, and that's the exciting part.
and we definitely needed this win today, and we got it, and it's going to continue to propel us forward. We hungry for more.
Grady, do you feel like there's been a shift in culture just this season with Raheem coming in and where you guys sit right now, not only in the division, but just where you are in the season?
I mean, that go without saying. Coach been doing a great job since he's been here, and he always been like that. Always been about energy, setting the tone and doing what we do. Focus on what we can control and focusing on us being our best self. And I think that's what he definitely has instilled in all of us. And and we just focus on where we at right now, where we going, and that's all that matters.
The defense played exceptionally well on third down today. Was that an emphasis? How did that work out for y'all to play that well?
I think it definitely was an emphasis on something that we wanted to be better in, and something that we knew we could be better in. Like we come down to, like we talked early in the week, execution, and that's what we did today. And then so proud of the growth.
So some updates on that front as well. Grady Jarrett obviously left the game with what was called a precautionary Achilles strain. The report today was that he remains day-to-day. The MRIs were fine, so we will monitor that throughout the week. Someone else who also left the game, this game was kind of riddled with injuries on both sides, not only for the Falcons, but for the Cowboys too. You had Drake London, who left, played a bit less than a half. He had a hip injury, so that's not expected to be too serious. He is also day-to-day, so something to monitor just as we get into this weekend against the Saints, who we will certainly talk about here in a bit. But this offense really was firing on all cylinders. Drake London had a touchdown. Darnell Mooney had a touchdown. Ray McLeod had a touchdown. Tyler Algier got in the mix. But after London left, you really saw guys like Bijan Robinson and Darnell Mooney step up. Robinson rushed for 86 yards on 19 attempts. He also had 7 catches for 59 receiving yards. So he was doing it both in, the ground game and the pass catching game. Meanwhile, Mooney, 88 receiving yards and a touchdown on 5 catches in week 9. Definitely someone who's become a big security blanket. Kirk Cousins talked post-game about where this offense is, where this team is, how good it feels to feel like this offense is finally efficient, and if this is what he expected it to see. He also talked about how he talked to a future Hall of Famer about playing in Atlanta. You'll have to listen to his response, because he said that future Hall of Famer kind of said to him, hey, like, if you can go to Atlanta and win, it could be a fun time. That could be something worth watching. So tune into what Cousins had to say post-game on Sunday after defeating the Dallas Cowboys.
Been like day today. I came in at halftime and just was communicating to teammates that it felt like a game we were going to have to grind out. They were going to make us earn, every play, every yard, and it felt that way, especially through the late in the third and into the fourth. I thought that teammates stepped up, especially in Drake's absence. Kadarius Hodge stepping up. Mooney made some big plays for us. Bijan Robinson showed up in the run game and pass game quite a bit. Tyler Algier's touchdown run was phenomenal. It's more of the same from him. Had a lot of great protection, a lot of time on the touchdown to Ray. It's so fun to be a progression passer and have an offensive line that really gives you the time to tick through. Great job there, and unbelievable catch by Drake on the touchdown. That's really what he does, among other things, so well, is that jump ball, high point, contested catch, strong hands. Love playing with a guy like that, being able to just put the ball up for him and let him go get it. And I told him we really haven't had enough plays like that this year. I told him earlier this week when we were meeting. And so it was fun to see that come alive in the game for a touchdown. And, now we just got to keep building, keep stacking, and always good to drive home now after a win. But I can take any questions,
Kirk, could you discuss the overall efficiency of the offense and the importance of that drive to start the second half? After the 3-and-out, you all were able to go down and get a score there.
I think that was an important drive to answer. I thought, both scoring drives in the second half felt like, really important drives and plays. And, being 2 for 2 on fourth down, I go back several games. Our fourth down plays have continued to make a major difference in our offensive production. There's plenty there to clean up. 4 for 13 on third down is not what we want. So there's still a lot there that you felt like, wasn't as sharp as we are capable of being.
Kirk,
I know you weren't here last year, but there seems to be a palpable shift with this team and the chemistry and the culture. Kaden Ellis called it special. What do you pinpoint that makes this team special sitting where you are right now in the season?
Yeah, I think, whenever you're winning, you certainly feel like the wind's at your back more, and yet it is such a week-to-week league that, I've learned that maybe you have a tough loss and maybe things don't feel as special, if you will, and it's just kind of that week-to-week nature of our league. But I think it starts with Raheem Morris as our head coach, setting the tone each week and allowing guys to feel comfortable to be themselves and to play, with great effort. And then from there, it kind of trickles down to our captains and our locker room. And, we just got to keep challenging each other, keep going out to practice each day with an edge and with an attention to detail, and believe that if you do that, good things will happen on Sundays and the wins will start to stack up.
Kirk, you talked this week about looking for ways to get yourself in sort of that right mindset pregame. I wonder if at any point in your career you use past relationships, I'm thinking of Coach Zimmer today, to sort of drive yourself in that way, to prove yourself. I'm going to show X, Y, and Z, or maybe not exactly that way.
I thought today was unique facing Coach Zim because I did feel like he was doing a good job of keeping us guessing, keeping us kind of, okay, now he's doing this. Oh, wait, they just changed to this. Okay, now he's pressuring, or okay, now he's bluffing. That's why it felt like a grind, was I felt like he had a good plan for us. And there were a couple times, and just the way he defended us, I thought that was smart. That was a good approach, and I think that's probably why we did have some challenges, and some of the drives did stall.
But do you feel any validation for having success against that today?
Well, I think there was positives, but there were also a lot we left out there. And I think when you look at some of the production, like the touchdown to Drake, I mean, that's just a kind of a player more than a play, if you will. And the same, with Mooney a little bit on the cover zero, that was kind of a tough look for them. It's a challenging deal, but it was hard earned today. I felt that.
Hey, Kirk, talk about how big Bijan has been as a receiver.
Yeah.
He didn't score per se, but he had 7 receptions, and that's always.
He's a big deal. It's a big deal. When I got here, I want him to be a receiver for us. I want him to show up in the pass game. I want to check the ball down to him. I want to put the ball in his hands. And my background would be whether it was Chris Thompson in Washington or Dalvin Cook in Minnesota. I see a running back as a running back, and I also see him as a receiver. And Bijan has a lot of ability catching the football, and I love when he shows up in our pass game too.
This week, you quoted something from Coach Morris, and you said, "Was it a game, or was it your game?" So,
right.
What would your answer be to Coach after today's performance?
Well, I think it's something you answer probably more in February, but it was a positive day to come out with a win, and guys made plays. We spread it around again, but there's always going to be things I'm going to nitpick, and we can be better in, and would have loved to have pulled away, but we weren't able to do that as much today. Dallas, stood up tough in the second half and made it hard for us to kind of be able to pull away the way we wanted.
Kirk, when you came here, you sort of talked about this team. Obviously, you did talk about, but they've struggled at the quarterback position the last few years, and I'm sure you saw an opportunity to come here with a lot of weapons. Has this sort of been how you envisioned, when you were laying this out, that how it could work? That if you could come in here and produce, they had the team, and this could turn around here.
Yeah, it's so week to week. Certainly the Pittsburgh game wasn't what I envisioned. The Kansas City game wasn't what I envisioned. The Seattle game wasn't what I envisioned. So it goes both ways. And even in some of our wins, you feel like, there's a lot more that we're capable of. So the challenge as a player in this league is trying to chase a standard that is potentially unrealistic, but you're still going to chase it and demand it. And, it can leave you wanting more when you walk away from each game. But I do believe that when you hold yourself to a high standard, it tends to lead to the best results possible.
Kirk, you talk about that Mooney touchdown. It was a tough look defensively for them with that bunch set. Where was he in your progression on that touchdown?
Yeah, it's a little complicated answer because, with cover zero, you kind of only have time to work one receiver. So I had a decision to make kind of pre-snap as to where to go, and felt like made an educated decision, I guess, educated guess that, I think Mooney will be my best option, and Mooney made me right. But, it was a tough pressure look, and, we're kind of fortunate there to be able to get a big explosive in a moment like that.
And then how much fun is it for you to be able to divvy the ball up to so many different guys at any moment in the game?
Yeah, you want to be multiple just so the defenses have to honor all 5 eligibles and have to kind of play you that way, as opposed to leaning towards somebody heavily and making the looks more difficult. But we also feel like there's a lot of people on our offense that can help us, and I think you all know that. But the more we can spread it around, the better.
Kirk, I'm curious, when you have a winning streak like this and you're 6-3 right now, is there a time where you still need to talk to a young team and give a message, versus like when you have a losing streak or you just lost a big one, it's time for a message then. But when you're on a winning streak, is there still time for a message or a need for a message just to keep everybody at ease?
I just think there's a message and a mindset you have to carry in every week. This league will beat you up, and it's so tough. It's such a grind. As one coach used to say to me, he's like, "Hey, we're checking into a miserable hotel, for 6 months. That's the way it is." And so we all need encouragement. We all need motivation. Football's such an emotional game. You have to find that emotion each week, and you can't be waiting on someone else to provide it for you each week. But at the same time, you are aware of the need to make sure our team's in the right mental space and emotional space each week, and sometimes you aren't, and it can lead to poor performances. So as a captain, as captain's leaders, you try to have your pulse on that, and the message can be anything, but you do try to understand what guys need to hear to play at their best that Sunday.
Kirk, you've mentioned week-to-week league and trying to stay focused, but this town, this fan base has been starved for a winner for a long time. Maybe can you sense that through your family connections here and everything of kind of what you're starting to build here? 6-3 is fun for the fan base, Kirk. I know you go week to week, but it's fun for you. Yeah. But can you sense what's building here?
Well, it's. I thought the fan base wise, when you're playing Dallas, you never know, just how much are you going to see Cowboys fans in the crowd, and I thought our fan base really stepped up today to make it a home field advantage for us. The swag surf in the fourth quarter was tremendous. The Nest continues to bring it every week, even during TV timeouts, which is amazing. So, that's what it's all about. I was with a retired quarterback this spring and had recently signed with Atlanta, and he was talking to me, and unsolicited, he said, Kirk, when I was in free agency and I was looking where to go, part of what I thought about was the city you go to if you win. What would that be like in that city? And he said, I look at you in Atlanta, and I say, that could be really fun if you win. That could be a really special place to win. And he said, you got to be excited about that. And so I thought that was a good perspective to have, that, this is a city that when you come here and you get the job done, there's a lot to look forward to in terms of what the city, how we can all come together. So you do it 1 week at a time to get there, and, you kind of see where you stand in February. But certainly a big part of playing football, the privilege that it is to play football, to quarterback this team, is to, try to create that community together as we win.
Kirk, you're a year removed from your surgery now. I'm just wondering, where do you think you are with your mobility and your comfort level out there?
Yeah, I think it's been pretty consistent as of late. I don't really think too much about the Achilles as I'm playing. If anything, it's just so sturdy that I really trust it, and so I feel pretty good. I've always kind of been a pocket passer, but today there were a couple times that I wish I had taken off and run. And just as a pocket passer, and I've had this conversation with many of you, that you want to go through your progression, but at the same time you want to take off and run. And there were a couple times today where I thought the better decision would have been to take off and run, and I didn't. And so that was something I want to do differently. But keep learning from each of those plays and try to put that Achilles to work running the football at times.
On the play to Mooney that Marie was talking about, I'm wondering, sort of in layman's terms, what are you using to diagnose where that read needs to be? And at this point in your career, what's your comfort level like that, I'm going to be right? I feel good about this throw, whereas maybe year 3 you were guessing.
No, there's definitely a growth process of learning from past experiences. It was all-out pressure, so as Gary Kubiak used to tell me, ball's got to go. It's got to go somewhere quickly. And I had Bijan on a double move on my left, and then had Mooney on my right, and then had Kyle on a shallow cross. All three have potential there versus man coverage. All three need to win quickly, and I just felt best about drifting right and trying to work Mooney, knowing the ball had to be out quick, and he made me right.
At what point in that play do you know it's the right decision and you're?
I think the ball was maybe 2/3 of the way there, and I thought he's pretty open. This has potential. And then he had to catch it and he had to finish, but that was a good feeling.
Yeah, sorry, just one quick thing. You guys have converted a lot of fourth downs over the course of the first half of this season. Raheem said that a big part of that is because of the competitive edge that you bring and the aggressive way that you play. And I'm curious from from your perspective, maybe why you think that is and why these fourth downs are mattering so much for you guys.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish we'd do it on third down or second and first, so it doesn't have to come down to fourth down. But certainly your head coach has to be willing to put that out there and be aggressive and go for it. And that's a challenge for many times to make that call. But he's been consistent in how he wants to approach it. And then Zach has to be very quick thinking to react in the moment. Okay, we are going to go for it. What do I like in such a critical situation? And so a lot of credit goes to Zach as far as what he's dialing up quickly on these fourth downs. And then, you're going to get people's best rush. So protection has been holding up. You're going to get tight coverage. Guys have been separating and winning. So it kind of all adds up to production. But I go back to what I've said so many times. I just try to be the point guard distributor, and so many other pieces have to step up too, coaches and players. And when they do, that's when it gets really fun to be that distributor.
Okay, so next up for the Falcons, well, that is going to be the Saints. And they're a little bit in shambles. They just fired Dennis Allen after losing their 7th straight game on Sunday. That Sunday game was to the Panthers nonetheless. The special teams coordinator, Darren Rizzi, was named the interim coach, and he addressed the media saying it was a tough day because Allen is a close friend. But this team has struggled. There's been a lot of controversy. Michael Thomas was tweeting on Sunday specifically about Derek Carr. Chris Olave left the game. Scary situation there. They won their first 2 games of the season, but then haven't won since, with their latest loss to the Panthers, 23-22. Tyrann Mathieu said it was a quiet plane ride home, and the players were informed by Allen in a text message the next morning that he had been fired. So things looking a little bleak for the New Orleans Saints as the Falcons get ready to go in there. Don't want it to be a trap game. Don't want to overlook them at all. Definitely want to get out of there with a win as they lead the division. But things don't look particularly too good for the Saints, who actually looked pretty decent the first 2 games. Something worth mentioning, the Hawks back at it tonight. They are facing the Celtics at 7:45. The team will be without Finals MVP Jaylen Brown. But for the Hawks, they're also without a few pieces. Kobe Buffkin's still out. Bogey's still going to be out. DeAndre Hunter, I believe, is questionable or out. So it's just those injuries are still a thing. Something to continue to monitor. They were able to get a win over the weekends over the Pelicans, 126-111. Dyson Daniels has certainly played a major part in that. So it's good to see that he will be playing. Hopefully Zachary Reese-Shea gets things going as well. But we will have all of those highlights tonight at 11 on Atlanta News First, as well as Aaron Ladd is at the game. He's going to have a full breakdown and wrap up this game, so we will keep you posted. But that will do it for this edition of Sports Tonight. Make sure to join us throughout the week for all the latest headlines. Have a good night.